What's up, YouTube? Episode 2 happening right now. What I've done off camera. Oh, if you haven't watched episode 1, last episode we did a Brembo master cylinder, Brembo perch, real carbon fiber bars, Honda MSX headlight, Thailand model of the Grom. Just go back and watch episode 1. Meanwhile, a few weeks from summer and it's snowing. I'm wearing like a winter hat and the flannel, like what the hell? I'm ready to ride. So I've got this giant rear fender that we want to get rid of. We just want to make this thing sleek. You got kind of like some cheap LED blinkers. We're gonna switch that out. I got a little surprise. And the rack, we don't want that because we're trying to make this thing look super sporty. Yeah, let's get this thing removed. About 3 weeks later, let me show you what I'm working with. So, you remember we were doing the tailpiece. I got to taking things apart. That sucker's broken. That sucker's broken. There's just like, obviously we're dealing with a Chinese motorcycle here. So these one of the downsides on these Chinese units is the plastics. They're really fragile. So I have complete Grom, actually Honda MSX fairings from Thailand. Just got them in. I am missing a few pieces, that's why they're up there. We're not doing that immediately. So I'm gonna pull all of these panels off, all these Chinese plastics. Remember, we're de-Chinesing this Chinese motorcycle. Now there's just gonna be some people out there wondering, why didn't you just start with a Grom? Well, remember the Grom's 60% more expensive. If you're gonna keep your Grom completely stock, right out of the dealership's showroom floor, yeah, definitely go the Grom route. But if you're like me and some others, and you're gonna modify the heck out of the stock Honda Grom, then it might make sense for you to get one of these, because we're gonna replace all these panels with Grom fairings. That's one thing that you would keep on the Grom, is the fairings. In this case, we're not doing that. But with the Grom, you're paying that 60% more, and then you're gonna pull off the brakes, the rear wheels, the engine, doing all this extra mods, upgrading the shock, where you didn't need to pay for all that up front because you were gonna take it off anyway. So that's kind of like the thought process here. So I'm gonna start pulling these off. Then we'll probably get to this motor. Then I can start running my EFI and see if it works, see if the charging system's gonna support it. Let's do it. Off, I might as well I'm going to pull this fairing off, which is held on by a bolt I can't get to. I'm going to pull this whole contraption, foot peg contraption off. We have brand new billet rear sets that are going on. This thing's getting stripped down. Whole go with the flow mentality, that is what we're doing. So I got all the body work off. I'm just gonna pull the motor. Wasn't really anticipating pulling the swing arm, but in order to get these peg brackets off, that needs to happen because this axle bolt goes right through it. So that'll require me removing the shock, the rear wheel, taking the chain off, which is all things that we were gonna upgrade anyway. I just wasn't planning on it right now. When I do that, I'm gonna put this new swing arm on, new chain, new everything, and the wheels need to get painted, but I don't want to paint them until I know everything mounts up to the new swing arm. So that's kind of what's going to happen. We're going to pull everything apart, we'll get the new shock on, the swing arm, put the non-painted wheel on, then we'll take it off later. The upgraded brakes, let's do it. There's a bare bones Grom clone. I need to pull this the shock out of there. Probably do that. But let me show you what I've got. What we're gonna put in there. It's pretty sweet. All right, here's the plan. 190cc 5-speed. Oh yeah, with an oil cooler. This kit comes with a carburetor, all the oil cooler lines, air filter, all the electrical, coil, ignition, rectifier, regulator, CDI, everything. Shifter, kickstart. So that's the motor. This is like what we're putting in this hot rod. This sucker is gonna fly. This is the swing arm we've got. This thing is super sweet. That thing is beefy. Look at that thing. Remember, you can buy all this stuff on the website. And then here's like our cheap Chinese one. Kind of sucks. Definitely a huge upgrade. And then the shock, an adjustable shock. Super beefy, super nice. And then we're doing a different sprocket for the rear, make it look a little kind of sharp. And of course, a gold chain. On top of that, Adeline brake kit for the rear. And oh yeah, braided blue brake line just like the front. Then here are our rear sets. And then we got our fuel injection system. These rear sets are super sharp. Bunch of little pieces, we have to build it. But remember that main bolt goes right through the rear set and into the swing arm. So we gotta like tediously put it all together. And then remember I've got my other brake master cylinder for the rear. I need to pull that off the old. And then we're gonna have to do some custom stuff for this EFI kit. This is what I'll probably do is put the carburetor in first, and then we'll kind of see how it runs, and I'll adapt this EFI fuel pump. That's gonna be like the deciding factor. It'll run with the carburetor, and then I'll turn this fuel pump on, and we'll see if it can handle it. It's basically a 2 amp draw. So these are all the parts. Rear sets, EFI, sprockets, super beefy swing arm, super beefy shock, better brakes, 190cc freaking monster, real nice. And then, you know, carburetor, oil cooler, all the bells and whistles that go with it. Like I said, I'm probably not going to use the carburetor. I'll just use it for testing purposes first, and we'll go from there. Got it on the lift, got all the stuff pulled off. Now I just need to start putting it back together. I gotta try to get this rear swing arm to fit. One thing I know for sure is it won't fit. The frame needs to be modified just slightly, trimmed down. So I got that, and then there's a few like emission control things on here I gotta remove. So here's what I'm working with. You notice this gap here is a little bit too large. I can't slide the swing arm onto there. So I gotta grind this down just a hair, trim the frame down just slightly. Let's try it. Just want to make sure that it slides all the way through. Yeah, that didn't take too much to get that that off of there. Maybe just a little bit of powder coat off. But remember this, the way that the swing arm went on was this rear set or rear foot peg contraption went on first. Through that, then through the swing arm, so on. But what I'm doing is rear sets. So I need to feed those all through.